Hey, every few months you'll see headlines screaming about the average retirement savings by age. And I get it. People are curious. They want to know where they stack up against the average. I mean, no one wants to be below average, right? But here's the problem. Averages make for flashy headlines, not for real planning. So if you compare yourself to those averages, you might end up with a completely false sense of security. Hey, if this is your first time here, my name is Keith Wilson, and I am a financial advisor helping folks just like you make sense of retirement planning. And in this video, I will dive into these numbers and show you what you should really look for. So let's get to it. All right, first let's start with what Fidelity reported in early 2025. Here's what the average 401k balance looks like. Ages 55 to 59, about $244,900. Ages 60 to 64, about $246,500. Ages 65 to 69, around $251,400. So if you look at those numbers and compare to what you have, you might either say, hey, I'm way behind, or you might say, hey, I'm better than average. But keep in mind, these numbers are averages, meaning a handful of people with massive balances are skewing the results upward. And that paints a picture that simply doesn't reflect what most households are actually dealing with. So if you dig deeper and look at what other studies report, like Vanguard's numbers, the median balance, that's in the middle, the median balance for people age 55 to 64 is only about $95,000. Compare that to the average of over $246,000. And you see the problem. The average is almost 3 times higher than the median. That means the majority of people are nowhere near those average numbers. But the headlines don't tell you that. Now, Fidelity also puts out guidelines or rules of thumb for how much you should have saved. So, according to Fidelity, by age 50, they say you should have about 6 times your salary saved. By age 60, about 8 times. So, for example, if you are 50 years old making $100,000 a year, you should have saved up $600,000. Now, that's according to Fidelity. But that doesn't mean all of it should have been saved in a 401k. Now, that might be a helpful reference, but again, it's not your plan. It's just a rule of thumb, not a roadmap. So let's widen the lens here, and let's look at something else. A report put out by the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances doesn't just look at retirement accounts like 401ks or IRAs. It includes things like savings accounts, brokerage accounts, even CDs. And according to their latest survey, the median savings for households age 55 to 64 is about $185,000. And the average is just over $500,000. Now, that sounds better, right? But again, those are broad averages and medians, and they still don't answer the real question. Are you personally ready for retirement? Oh, and by the way, if you want to get your own free retirement checkup, check out the resources below. But this is where I want to push back against the whole obsession with averages. Averages don't tell you what your living expenses will be in retirement. Averages don't factor in whether you have a pension or Social Security or rental income. They don't know if you want to travel the world in your 60s or if you're perfectly happy gardening at home. Look, I have couples that have saved up just maybe a couple $100,000, and they're just doing fine in retirement because they may have hefty pensions, and coupled with maybe rental income and Social Security benefits, they have more than enough to cover their living expenses. Now, at the same time, I have clients with millions of dollars, saved up for retirement, but they don't have pensions. They just have Social Security benefits, and yet they have higher living expense needs, and they're drawing down from their savings significantly. But here's the thing. Some people save outside of their retirement accounts. They've got brokerage accounts. They have HSAs and savings earmarked for retirement. None of that shows up in the Fidelity numbers, which means comparing yourself to these studies can either make you feel way behind or give you false confidence, and neither is helpful. So here's the bottom line. Averages and rules of thumb might make headlines and make you curious. You want to compare to those averages, but they don't answer the only question that you have, which is, are you ready to retire? And the only way to know is to run your own numbers. Look at your lifestyle. Look at your guaranteed income, your goals, and your savings, and put it all into context. So build a plan that reflects your reality, not someone else's average. And that's how you retire with confidence and clarity. Hey, hope you found this helpful, and if so, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you next time. If you like what you're seeing so far, check out this next video, subscribe to the channel. Lord willing, we'll see you next time.